Welcome everyone to The Next. Today we have a special guest, Leon. I'm Ahmed Ismail, co-founder of Demand Virtual.
My name is Ryan Rivera, founding member and working partner of Myco.
And I'm Leon Surynt, founder of Nightjar Coffee Roasters.
Great.
How's it doing?
Good. Well, nice to have you with us.
Yeah.
We brought you on here because we love coffee.
Nice. More of you, please.
Exactly. So tech and coffee have a very big connection, right?
Up all night, yeah.
Everyone loves coffee.
Yeah.
Everyone in tech loves coffee.
Yeah.
So tell us more about Nightjar. Tell us more about your story and how you got here. It's a UAE homegrown brand. It's one of the biggest kind of coffee shops or coffee
institutions.
Yeah,
you're very kind.
Oh, wow.
In the UAE.
Right? This is serious.
This is
Coffee
serious.
institution, yeah.
It's
I
an
didn't know it was like
institution.
this. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're very happy
kind.
to have you on here.
Yeah, you're very kind.
Tell us more about your story. How did you end up here?
Well, I'm originally from New Zealand, and Wellington is the formative town of my youth. So that's a little coffee roasting, kind of little Bay Area kind of place. You know, music, art, coffee roasting. I started off in the film industry there. Got involved with gigs, nightclubs, DJs, raves, sound systems, all of that stuff. Started bars, started restaurants, and coffee roasting was always in the DNA from the street where we had our little bars, and there was lots of little immigrant coffee roasters there. And then there was that kind of third wave of coffee that came through in the late 80s, early 90s for us. And I ended up selling up in 2006 and made my way over to Dubai because I could see there was something else happening. So, yeah.
Why Dubai?
Well, I came through in 2001 and I was doing a tour around the world with my wife, and we stopped here and met some good people, and they kept talking to us through the years, and they said there were things happening around 2006, 2007, which was interesting time to come. We started working I started working for an F&B development company. Then the financial crisis occurred, so I started working for a coffee company. And I was like, you know what, this is working for me. I kind of know, I've got that in my bones. I've been doing hospitality. And I mean, at the end of the day, I suppose my business is like how to say, everything I've been doing has been kind of an art expression. It's like, you know, I don't really start going, I want to sell coffee. I was like, I actually want to create something, you know, and what do we do with that? You know, and what is the currency? What is the commodity? How do we transact with, how do we commune with people? That's how I got into, I suppose, the industry I'm into. And it kind of started with music, started with film, and it evolved into F&B, which is a type of theatre, right? And coffee is also part of that as well, you know. So
about go on.
No. I'm interested to hear more.
Yeah, so about 30 years ago, when you wanted to buy a cup of coffee, it was about $2.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was literally black coffee.
Yeah.
Right. Now we've seen this whole specialty coffee sort of industry segment that I think in 2023 was here in the UAE, I looked it up, $600 million industry, projected to be a $1.3 billion industry in about 4 years from now, which means it's growing about 11% per year, right? So if you think the humble coffee, the $2 coffee, is now, you know, you're not just selling coffee now, are you? You're selling
experiences,
an experience, right?
So I mean, when I landed here, I was quite staggered that so many big brands like Emirates had, and Jabira had, you know, Costas, and they had the other international brands, and I was like, well, you know, why don't you have your own startups going on? Because you're close to East Africa, which is a lot of coffee. You're a huge trading hub. It just didn't make sense to me. And so there were other pioneers in the coffee industry who started up well before me. You know, I had a young family, so I wanted to work and do what I wanted to do until I felt that the moment was right. And that moment was around about 2017, 2018. But I didn't want it to be a shop in a mall, you know, because back to your, you know, $2 suddenly became a $6, $9 coffee experience because suddenly they're in really expensive real estate. So I purposely hunted out, I suppose, an artistic warehouse, which, you know, who was doing things interesting. And I could see that Al Sakal was bubbling up. At that time, there was only galleries and no F&B there.
Yeah.
And so for me, that was really interesting because you could create an experiential asset around coffee. You know, the coffee part, you know, it is a craft. It's an art. You know, I'm not an amazing coffee roaster, but I hire really great people. I know a good cup of coffee. I know how to cup. I know how to buy green coffee. But that's part of the whole, I suppose, canvas. You know, you've got sound, music, taste, warmth, cold, you know, visual, comfort, discomfort. Sometimes the you don't want to build something that's so comfortable that people stay there the whole time, you know. And so we built an environment which feels industrial. It is a working cafe. It's a working roastery. The environment didn't want to be too slick. It wanted to be like an Al Quoz canteen, you know, and you know, it was almost purposely under-designed in that sense, you know. So
how does this work? Like when you're thinking of this idea, this business plan, you come up with, okay, this is what the cafe is going to be like, and then are you taste testing coffees to be like, okay, this one's for us? Or do you have those connections to coffee and be like, okay, we need to build a community or brand around this certain coffee? Like, how did it work for you?
You know what? I actually built it about what does it sound like. It was really weird, right? Yeah. I actually wanted to build a warehouse that sounded really amazing, you know, and it sounds unusual, but there's nothing worse than going to a factory or a restaurant or a cafe and it's noisy and it's clattering and it's concrete and it's steel. And so I purposely built a really beautiful hi-fi system, a really beautiful wooden interior. So the whole place felt like a warm cocoon, right? And for me, that's like a warm cup of coffee, you know? So it's unusual to think like that, but that's kind of how I think. I want to start from how do I want to feel and how do other people want to feel, you know? And it's, you know, the amount of times that I've heard people go, oh, this is just like Williamsburg or this is just like Shoreditch. It's like, dude, it's nothing like that.
It's not. It's Dubai.
It's a Dubai thing, right? And I'm quite proud of that. But, you know, to answer your question about the coffee, like there are different, back to your thing about the $2 to the $9, you know, we could chase the very rare Panamanian geisha, which is picked under floral, spring light and the moon and all of this kind of thing, you know. And yes, they are beautiful cups of coffee. You know, there's some guy who's just opened up in Al Quoz and he's touting that he's bought a $34,000 per kilo cup of coffee, you know, green bean coffee. It's great marketing maybe, or stupid marketing, depends on how you call it. But, you know, there are beautiful, beautiful award-winning coffees that command amazing prices at Japanese and Korean auctions. But they are the outliers, you know. Cafes were built to commune with people, the centres of politics and business and trade right from the days of 1600s, you know. It's mercantile. You know, it's a really interesting place to be, you know. So coffee was a stimulant, you know, that you could you know, get together and go on. And so for me, it's all about blends and blending the world. You know, you've got South American, Central American, African coffees, Asian coffees, Indian coffees. They're all very, very interesting, you know. And for me, back to try to answer your question, it's not about saying I want a particular cup. I want a particular feeling. So, you know, people who like the darker cup of Joe, you know, the more rock and roll kind of guy or woman, you know, what is that cup like, you know? And the more biscuity, you know, every person kind of coffee, what is that like? The really fruity, weird, out there experimental coffee. What kind of person is that?
Right. And do you find that? Sorry, do you find that people here in Dubai get those nuances, or do you have to educate them? Like,
no,
is it a marketing thing?
Dubai gets it.
Dubai gets it.
Dubai gets it. There's a lot of older mentality people who are coffee is coffee, and actually I love that coffee is coffee. Some people who just I just want.
That's like me.
Yeah,
coffee is coffee to me.
It's one of a great black cup of coffee. But Dubai is a town of freaks and misfits and hustlers and entrepreneurs and quiet people and artists, and you know, it's a melting pot, and so people do get it, and that's why there's origin series, there's blend series, and the art. What's so important is the coffee must match the art must match the music, and so it kind of triggers with people, you know. Your coffee might be different to your coffee, you know, and you can't try to create something for everyone. We've got very kind of narrow focused language, you know. And again, coffee is it's part of what we do, you know. And I'm really intrigued of what the next journey is, because, you know, I started in film, moved to bars and restaurants, and you know, for me, launching coffee in 2006. Well, I started thinking about it around 2015 here in Dubai. It's like that's again, it's a commodity, it's a currency that I can use to create something, you know. And so, what is the next, you know, generation of Nightjar? You know, we've tried other stores. You know, we've tried to ape some of the things that worked in the past with in Dubai, and it doesn't work, right? Dubai's too quick and too fluid.
It is, and I think one of the big problems here in Dubai is I guess cultural, like culture sharks, culture vultures, right? There's a lot of that here, and when something, and it's not just in F&B, but it's also in tech, right? It's in pretty much every industry. When you do something really well, you get other people.
Cultural appropriation,
or you know, culture vultures, right? People who come in and they like what they see.
Yeah, we get that all the time.
And they try to do slightly better.
Or exactly the same.
Yeah. And so it brings me on to another question is, what is your moat? What is Nightjar's moat?
Moat?
Yeah, like a moat. What protects you?
Oh, I see the moat. Okay,
Moat.
Yeah. Like a drawbridge moat.
Yes.
Cult of personality, I think, is a large one. Like the people that we hire are amazing people, right? And that really infuses into the customer. You know, I'm convinced that people return and repeat because of the experiences that they have. You know, and you know, touch wood, a lot of people don't have that connection with their people. You know. Moat. Can we cut now?
A moat. No, what is, I mean, that's the thing. It's as people try to do, you know, a copy. I mean, Dubai chocolate is a great example.
Yeah, I know. I was traveling.
right?
I was traveling the airport the other day.
It's everywhere now.
And just every brand is doing doing Dubai chocolate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Fix did it.
Yeah.
They did it really well at first.
Yeah.
But you know, because they did it so well, the whole world started copying them. You know, Lindt now have a Dubai chocolate.
I mean, I even have friends who are like, "Is this the real one?" And I'm like, "It's not the original one."
Yeah,
you know,
the original one is the original one, right?
Right.
And
yeah, but again, so you know, coffee is quite fungible in the sense that, you know, there's multiple brands of coffee, you know, and some of them are just mainstream supermarket brands, some of them are roastery, you know, boutique brands. You know, we're not. It's still a commodity traded product, you know.
Yeah.
Next to oil, right? So it's not defensible in that way. So you have to create a brand story around who you
it's
are.
the marketing, it's the story, it's the brand around it.
So the moat really is. So we are location specific. So we've embarked on a. We started scaling out our stores, and now we've brought that back in, you know, to really celebrate who we are, where we are, and we've got this mantra at the moment. It's, you know, Dubai's world famous. Yeah. We are Dubai's world famous coffee brand, you know, which is kind of a weird story of, you know, we're from Dubai, but we are world famous because part of our, I suppose, startup was one of the points that I used to say to people. Our business plan is that there are so many people that come through Dubai. I want people to say when they leave Dubai, they say when you go to Dubai, you must go visit Nightjar. That's one of the.
Yes,
it's
of course.
because I know, you know, word of mouth is the strongest. And when you've got 80 million people coming through the airport a year, you know, if you just get a fraction of that, who are then saying, when you go to Dubai, you want a good cup of coffee, go to Nightjar.
It's actually quite smart because Dubai's a melting pot. You have all these different cultures.
Yes, that's right.
It's hard to market to a certain culture.
That's
but
right.
If you're marketing a feeling to someone, people can all share this feeling of.
Yeah. And they export that because they all travel home for summer or for Christmas or for Ramadan or whatever they do, Eid. You know, so those are really, you know, you're spreading the word.
Yeah.
And we see it because, and you know, we've been lucky in the sense that Al Sakal has created a community around Al Quz. Probably be a lot harder if we were saying come to Dubai Mall and see us in this one spot.
Right.
So again, it's about that personality, making sure our people understand that that it's not yes boss. It's more be yourself, interact with people, engage and be hospitable. That's the key, right? And so often in Dubai many years ago, it was very perfunctory. Just yes ma'am, yes sir, And we wanted people to abandon that, wear what they want, feel like what they want, say what they want if someone's been a dick, and celebrate themselves, in their work environment. So that is really important. And again, like back to that word of mouth, you really want people to tell them, and then someone else comes back, then they tell another few friends. It's a self-perpetuating thing. And for us to do that, celebrate the location, but then create products that people can scale with or export with,
So the scaling thing is something that's very interesting, and I think is a very good moat to have, because if you look at the story behind Starbucks or Costa, trash coffee, and I don't mind saying that to a wider audience,
but solid businesses,
solid business, because they've managed to create a commodity out of a commodity. Rather than doing the same thing. Like now, Starbucks, right? You could buy Nespresso pods.
Yeah.
Starbucks Nespresso pods, right?
Well, because they did the big deal in Nespresso, right, with Nescafe, right? So,
So,
the scalability is an interesting one. So you could, yes, I've got bags and beans in a bag, right?
Yeah.
And my beans are better.
Which
than
I love, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. My beans are better than your beans. You can only go so far. Right, so then it's down to the story behind the bean, the evocative feeling of the packaging, the touch, the look, the feel. But it goes beyond just a pack of beans, right? So, what is the Nightjar vibe? We sell a heap of merch like T-shirts and collateral like that, because people feel connected to. When I go back to my hometown, I want to take that T-shirt with me.
Right,
and that's really powerful. Again, it's another story. So
belief in marketing.
And so that's back to the mantra of Dubai is world famous. This is what we really want to push, and it's taken a leaf out of the fixed book.
Yeah,
because Dubai chocolate.
Launch some pistachio coffee. See what happens.
Yeah. But the point. Damn it! We're already working on it. It's in a cold brew can. It's out. No, we got other stuff. It's a funny one, because there was a period around 15 years ago. There was a period in the 80s and the 90s where you could call yourself Dubai Construction Company. Dubai real estate, Dubai this,
you can't
Dubai
do that anymore.
Can't do it, right? And around about 20 years ago, they shut that down. And I found that really interesting that Dubai chocolate came up and became known as a Dubai chocolate. And I found it very interesting that this very intelligent government brand that we have, caught that and let it go.
Yeah.
And they let it flow. They let it go duty free. They let it scale. And as I said to you,
it's put Dubai on the map.
Yeah, I was in duty frees in foreign countries, and I was seeing, pistachio, Dubai chocolate. It was fascinating. So it's exported that brand, and so for us with our cold brew, our other products that we're working on, cans, merch, there's other stuff that we're working on for another podcast.
Yeah,
but to create products that celebrate the Dubai story without necessarily saying Dubai coffee.
Yeah, Dubai coffee.
Right. Yeah. But when you go to Dubai, make sure you go to that.
I always tell everyone, by the way.
So your dad.
Just in this podcast really is a lot of this series is about. It's called The Next. So it's about how technology will move things forward. And rather than talking about very visionary, pie in the sky, hype BS, right? We like to go to people like you and see where in, say, 5 years or 10 years your industry will be, right? One big thing that we see a lot of is robotics in coffee and AI, right? We had a guest on last week who was disrupting the financial and legal industry with AI, with LLMs, because they can do a lot of the work that humans can do 10 times better. And there's an element of that, of what happens to people's jobs who already do it. Or do you skill them up into doing other things? So as technology progresses, it's a very sort of general point. But the question to you is, within that sphere of AI and robotics, how are you embracing that as it becomes more and more mainstream?
Yeah, interesting question. I mean, there's blockchain and traceability is one thing. And I remember when blockchain first came out, I was speaking to green people. So, yeah, there was a story I heard about one guy was buying green beans. This was 20 years ago. And
can you explain to people what green beans are?
So when you go to the farms of origin, there are, coffee is essentially a red cherry. It gets processed, washed, honey, natural fermentation processes to turn it into the seed. That's called a green bean coffee, right? What was fascinating, it was a friend of mine was somewhere in Central America, and he was offering spot prices to these people, and then all of a sudden these very dirt poor farmers are pulling out their phones and some big satellite, and they're just checking all the futures prices, and, and he was just like crazy, right? It's so people adopt technology quite quickly, even in very rural areas. And I remember when blockchain came out, I remember speaking to some green people saying this is where the traceability should come. I'm not a blockchain guy, and I know it's now happening. The whole
it's being enforced in the EU right now.
Yeah, so that's fascinating on that side of thing.
And what benefits does that bring?
Well, I mean, for us, the origin story is really important, right? Because you could say I've got organic coffee. Is it?
Yeah.
And that's actually in a more frontier environment. In the EU, you couldn't get away with that very easily, but as you go further east and south, you can kind of do what you want, and it's really down to your integrity, But blockchain will then enforce that, especially if you
zero trust.
Yeah, that's right. For me, that's one thing, and those will always be tools, and we'll always adapt. And it's really interesting that those things are available to us to create traceability and authenticity, right? But I think the key is authenticity. So, the future is authenticity. The future is moments of experience, friction, joy, pain. Those are things that actually people will experience. I mean, I was going to say philosophical now, but at the end of the day, our world has become quite algorithmic, and our experiences have been squashed to what they are, to what is fed to us, right?
It's the war between experiential and algorithmic.
Yeah, that's right. So I think that the future is having moments, and you see it now with brands. They might launch a album or a product, and you might have to find the secret location to actually be able to get the invite to go to the behind the curtain, to go to the door, to get to the club. You have to work for it,
right?
And actually I think people want that because everything's delivered on a plate. Back to the robotics. I mean, we already we have been working closely with the Museum of the Future since they opened.
Right.
The robot coffee machine is serviced and maintained and supplied by us. So
Amazing.
The cold brew, the beans, all of that kind of thing. It can be really difficult. That robot can sometimes be really difficult, but it'll get better and better and better, right?
Yeah.
And it's beautiful to see them have that out on show. There are many robot coffee machines now in airports and other bits and pieces that and it isn't as fast as an Italian barista with 6 heads, and smashing them out. It's not as fast yet.
But in this age of digital ordering, for instance,
that's right. Customization
is key.
Yeah, and
right?
this is the fascinating thing. So there are flavoring companies that I know who have been working with products like a Helix, so you can dose yourself.
Oh, okay.
You know, like with I want a little bit of pistachio with my chocolate, you know, or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
It's all about customization and moments of your own selfishness and experience, you know. Well, what have you got? Oh, well, I've got this, you know. And that's where bubble tea and boba and all of these things are quite interesting. You know, so I think robot coffee machines have a place. They're going to be amazing for high volume service stations where we're working, where we just want to have the fuel, where coffee is coffee, and we just bang it out, you know. Wicked, awesome. You know, on the treadmill to work, you know, that kind of thing.
But also, ordering a cup of coffee 30 years ago in EU, UK, US, right?
Yeah.
Especially the UK. On a Sunday, shops close at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? The machine gets switched off at 3:30.
Yeah.
Meaning that the ability to serve, technology enables that, right?
I lived in New York in '94, and I'd come from Wellington, which was this home of coffee. You know, it was like beautiful, beautiful coffee. And it was all rubbish. I was expecting this romantic Italian experience. The only decent coffee I could get after hours was a Starbucks. There was only 3 Starbucks in New York at that time.
But in a consumer culture, especially one like so extreme, like here in Dubai, you know, people want things, digital ordering on demand.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
This is why now we have apps like Talabat or Deliveroo or Uber or Careem that enable you to get the food that you want at the time you want it. Whether that's 2 in the morning.
But it's just like our algorithm. Everything's compressed and bland, right? And I ordered for my daughter the other day, and because I couldn't cook, and and you know, the food came out and it was so bland, and it's nothing like the place that I go. I order from a place that I really enjoy, and when I go to eat there, delicious.
Yeah.
You know, when it came on a box and it was a bit steamy and wet, not so great, right?
Yeah.
So I think, you know, robotics will have a place. I think future-wise, back to what we were talking about, celebrating our location, celebrating our culture, celebrating who we are, these become more and more powerful. And, you know, if I have a can of this product and it's got crazy nootropics or it's got prebiotics or something like that, and I know that's that brand that I engaged with, you know, it has a feeling, it has a sensual thing that goes with it, as long as it fits, as long as it's not, you know, disingenuous, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we need to be as an industry. I think we need to create more beautiful experiences. Koreans do it really well. Japanese do it really well. And actually some Emirati brands do it very, very, very well.
Right,
you know?
yes, of course.
Because at the end of the day, it's art. Back to that thing. It's like some of these, it's like a hi-fi listening bar. It's like a coffee brew bar, which only serves coffee from Central America or something. You know, highly specialized in a country like Japan or Korea. You've got the population to sustain it. In areas like here, it's almost an art form.
Yeah.
You know, it's imageless.
It's all about like your experience and expectations. Because like you were talking about the robot making the coffee. I don't care if it's slower right now. Robot's making it. It's cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I'm not looking for a certain experience when I go to Costa. Like, I know it's just going to be the same every time. I'm not staying for the experience, but having something.
You're staying for the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I guess so. You know what I mean?
But one thing also, just to change the conversation a little bit, but one thing also that the UAE is celebrated for, especially recently, is being a global tech hub, is its positioning within virtual assets. It's something I'm very passionate about. And, you know, we were having a conversation earlier about NFTs and blockchain and how I was very disappointed with like the metaverse and NFTs of people trading pictures effectively of like monkeys and stuff. It's stupid, right? And it's an industry that has garnered a lot of attention and money and just basically dropped off a cliff. That said, it's still a tool. And the problem with that tool, I think, was that the problem or the solution was invented before the problem. as in blockchain technology has many solutions, also many problems to solve.
Yeah, that's right.
But people were so focused on the solution, on the tech.
Yeah, or what can I get with it?
Yeah. Like ERC20 tokens and Tron and Bitcoin and Ethereum and all of this stuff is great tech, but people were too quick in jumping on the hype bandwagon to use that to solve a problem.
Right.
And the question I have for you is, have you thought through how Web3 generally would solve your problems? Some brands, for instance, use tokens for like loyalty, ensuring brand loyalty to a certain certain big brands.
Yeah, and I think that's where the Bathing Ape guys did it really well, and then they didn't. All the copycats didn't do it so well after that, right? Because you felt like you were part of a club.
Yeah.
And I actually think we're not even close to that yet with the industry that I'm in, but it should get there, right? So your Starbucks Costa experience is purely functional. I go to a location where people have the resources to finance the real estate, so I'm on every corner, But if I want that experience, it's even more enhanced if I have some kind of membership or some kind of exclusive is not really quite the word, but friends with benefits. But it is part of that, right? It's what more can I get from being loyal, And I think that's a really interesting question, which probably needs to be talked a lot more.
Yeah.
And
you're not doing it right now.
No, we're not. No, because we're so. Yeah, we're in a. At the end of the day, we're in quite a Darwinistic industry. Like our industry is, we create a great menu and a great coffee experience, and we stay ahead of the game. You know, and we make sure that we hope, like you said, other people copy and replicate and vulture.
Yeah.
And so that is essentially quite Darwinistic.
Yeah, very. Yeah.
And actually not the greatest business model. Unless you really enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so we are an industry where we're constantly coming up with new ideas to create experiences around taste or comfort or warmth. And I think the next leap is capturing those people who use tech a lot.
Yeah.
And how do I be brand loyal to that, And it's a really interesting, it's really back to what you're spreading the word globally.
Right.
How do you harness that,
And it's almost like you're building a company where people enjoy their experience and they feel part of that. But is the next step giving them something so they can show that they're that loyal person? Like something as easy as you buy on your 20th cup, you get a hat that's numbered.
Yeah.
You see I'm first 10.
Yeah.
I got number 200.
Yeah.
And then they're wearing it in its marketing and they're like, oh, look.
Yeah.
I've been here a while.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I was the original.
Yeah, it was the original.
Original Bathing Ape.
And then as it grows, someone might have number 5,000.
Yeah.
Number 10 walks in. You're like, oh.
Yeah. But both you and I collect vinyl.
Yeah.
It's the same concept.
Yeah, that's right.
When you collect vinyl,
I have vinyls
and
as well.
Oh, you have vinyl as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So with vinyl, you get two types. You get the reissues.
Yep.
And you get the OGs.
Mm-hmm.
And the OGs are worth so much more.
Right.
Because they're collectible. They're more collectible.
Yeah.
Everything's collectible in a way.
Right.
But the OG is more collectible. So, can you use that concept within?
Well, the collector gene is a very powerful, addictive thing if you can harness it.
It's a trauma response I have.
Yeah, maybe. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about therapy.
Let's get the whiskey out.
So what's your least favorite childhood trauma?
No, but that's the collector gene is a powerful, powerful thing. And I think we keep referring back to Bathing Ape because they seem to do it so well at the start with the NFTs, and it's a shame that so many other people did it and messed it up.
Yeah.
They just turned it into this laughable, childish, And there's nothing really wrong with being childlike. I think childlikeness is wonderful because it's discovery and that kind of thing. But when it becomes childish, it's
human nature.
Yeah.
And it's a form of greed. So tell us more about your journey as a founder. It's one thing that, building what you've built takes a lot of blood, sweat, tears, and there are a lot of ups and downs. People probably just see, the success. People see Nightjar in the Museum of the Future, or people see it in, people talk about it online everywhere. But it wasn't always that easy, was it?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think the whole thing has been a journey, right? So I was very fortunate that I started my self-employed business when I was 25. So I really didn't want to work for anyone else, and I wanted to, invent my own future.
Yeah.
So if you asked me 10 years ago, I probably would have answered a little bit differently. But now I was just thinking about that question when we were pouring, and it's a funny one because as you get older and supposedly wiser, you realize it's a big game, and you're dealing with friction all the time. And then when you have these moments like, as I said, we immigrated out here and the financial crisis happened, and it was the calamity of the century, and then COVID came, and then other things have there's always a crisis of some kind. And they shape you. That friction, you start off as quite a rigid block, and it slowly wears you down, or not down. No, it doesn't wear you down. It rounds you out.
Of course.
So I think throw whatever you like at me now. You
become a lot more resilient.
Yeah, that's right. And it's not for everyone.
And what is it about, because I believe in something, and I always say this, successful founders have a very strong neurological kind of protection. Because as a founder, a lot of things are thrown at you, bad things.
The bad and the good. You've got to celebrate the good. When sometimes you have to sit there and you go, I am pretty damn lucky to be doing this. And it's those moments where, you bunk off and you pick up your daughter and you go have lunch. Those are the things that make you a successful entrepreneur because you don't have to be
how to prioritize.
Yeah. But the crisis stuff, it can break you, and it can really damage you, and it can damage your relationships and all of that thing. So, you have to all be in for the ride, and it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. COVID was tough, but we've had a couple of things go wrong in the last 12 months where it was to do with business partners wanting to not honour contracts. That was even harder than COVID.
Yeah, of course.
And it really made us soul search about, really, is this where we're at now, at this part of our life,
Yeah.
But you get through it, and you have to get through it. And I think looking, as I said, looking back at it now, I think I'm happy to keep going doing what I'm doing because I know that I can just keep reinventing and tweaking and evolving what we're doing. And I think Nightjar as a coffee brand will be a very different beverages brand in a few years' time because, just being the cup of coffee guy is not the best idea when there are so many others popping up all around the town.
Yes, exactly.
So,
it's about your moat again, isn't it?
Yeah,
protecting your moat.
That's right. So I think you celebrate the good times and you really knuckle down on the bad. And I really I agree with you on the neurological stuff. I've been listening to quite a bit of Rick Rubin lately.
All right.
He's a smart character,
Yeah.
right? He's an artist. He's a music producer. He's a Buddhist. He's all about inner peace, and finding love, and those things are really important, and I've been listening to a couple of his podcasts lately. It's worth checking out.
Okay.
Because
definitely do that.
because they are all about mental stamina,
Yeah.
breathing, slowing, You know, those things are really, really important, you know.
Of course, yeah.
Because it's very easy as a anxious entrepreneur to be hyper.
My secret is ice baths.
Yeah.
Daily.
I did my first one 2 weeks ago.
How did you find it?
6 minutes.
That's enough. That's all you need. Did you put your head all the way in?
No, I just went
Okay,
up to,
just went up to that. Okay, that's not really an ice bath.
Isn't
You
it?
have to go in.
Yeah.
You have to put your head down under the water for 15 seconds, and it makes you into a new human.
Yeah, you're right. That was my first one. Next door neighbour called me over. Said, check this out. All right.
You haven't started CrossFit or anything?
No.
Well, you can't with that,
No,
can you?
no. It was because of the CrossFit. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's part of my journey. I know you enjoy our coffee.
I love your coffee, yeah.
I know your dad does.
Yes.
He loves
My dad
coffee.
came to your... Yeah, he always asks about you. So if he watches this, he came with his, took notes
Yeah.
about how you brew your beans.
Yeah,
How
lovely.
you roast your beans, sorry.
See, well, that's it, right? Like
Yeah.
having someone's dad come and have a chat. That's what makes the business human,
Yeah.
or the human part of the business.
And that's
you know?
something that technology can't break. It's the human aspect of what we do. So
back to that. So
Yeah.
so we will use the tools. We will probably, it sounds dumb, but it sounds ancient now. But COVID came, we used a table ordering system, which was very effective, and you could pay, right? We're actually evolving that to be more of a loyalty program,
Yeah.
right? But at the same time, we're reintroducing paper menus and customer experience.
because people just they want the personality in there.
So there's no one magic bullet, right? But use the tools where you can, and sustain and maintain the human.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's key. I think personally we're going into an AI bubble at the moment
For sure.
where there was a study that said that people who use ChatGPT use 83% less of their brain. I have to fact check that, but and I think we've become so reliant so early on very imperfect models.
Yeah. Can I tell you something really embarrassing?
Go on.
Like,
No one's going to hear it. It's fine.
ChatGPT came out, and I didn't pick. Of course, I looked at it and how it works, but I purposely didn't download it on my phone. And I let everyone else in the office. And so when I needed stuff done, I was like, "Can you get ChatGPT to do this?"
And they're like, of course.
Yeah, which was really useful, right? Really, really useful. And now version 5 has come out, and it's pretty damn powerful.
It's
right?
pretty good, yeah.
It's like amazing. I was looking at a friend using it the other day, and then I had a scooter accident in Sri Lanka, and
Well, that's not going to help you, is it?
well, ChatGPT is so much more my friend now because
Were you using ChatGPT when you were in your scooter?
No. What I'm saying is like I've only just started using it.
Right, okay.
Only just started using it in the last week, and actually,
To be fair, it's only been out a couple of weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, no, but I'm saying ChatGPT in its entirety.
Oh,
I haven't
right,
even,
okay, wow.
I haven't even used it. I've been letting other people use it and watching how it evolves and that kind of thing. And I know I'm very aware of what it is. And we've been using it in our office, in our business for the last 2 years, whatever it is.
And look, models like LLM models are prone to hallucination, and they are, there's a legal aspect to this. I mean, I'm talking more generally. It's got nothing to do with coffee. But AI has an ability to get things wrong. But then when it gets things wrong, who do you blame?
Yeah, right.
Right? Do you blame the creator of the model, or do you blame the prompter?
Yeah, the prompter maybe. Yeah, that's
or the
right.
person checking the output. So,
Well, that was my job. I'm checking you. I mean, you guys use it.
Yeah.
I'm just watching it, checking.
exactly.
Yeah, no. So I think 5 is pretty damn smart, and I was pretty impressed. And so I was like, you know what? I've got one arm. Let's use it. and it's a powerful thing, but I can see why you might only use 80% of your brain.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
no, 80% less.
Well, less, I should say.
Yeah.
The point being is that if you treat it, so we're in a city where a lot of people have English as a second language and certain different levels of education, and a lot of people are now using it to sound smarter than they really
actually are.
Yeah. And
one of my pet hates.
but actually, it is a pet hate. Yeah. Watch the hyphen. But like
The M dashes.
Yeah. And I've seen CEOs do it. Sending me emails like which sound smarter than they are. But the point being is that we've got junior staff using it because they haven't had huge levels of education and they want to be better. They want to get the job done.
I guess you learn by doing, right?
Yeah. However, it's a wonderful tool for them to be able to, but it becomes so robotic because I've seen some customer interaction from my team, and I'm like, no, stop. You can't be doing that.
Yeah.
It's
no
not
embarrassing social media posts.
Yeah, but it's just you can't be talking to a customer as robotic as that because they will start replying back in ChatGPT-ish. And it's just here we go.
Okay.
So
all right. So this is the final bit. It's a rapid fire. So what's the next for you?
The next for me is going beyond coffee to beverages.
To beverages? What kind of beverages?
Kombuchas, sodas, things with enhancements in them, things that make you feel good.
Legal, though.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. What's the next for the industry?
My industry?
Yeah.
I think what's next for my industry is a clean out.
A clean out?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
We've got a lot of big players big investment groups have been buying up Coca-Cola's, buying up the Costas.
So roll-ups?
Yeah,
like
a
consolidation, you mean?
Yeah, but also a lot of, there was a massive explosion of coffee startups in post-2020.
There were, yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people sitting on a lot of real estate, and I think there's a lot of people sitting on a lot of coffee because they've all bought stuff and they haven't been able to sell it. So I think in this industry, in this part of the world, there's a consolidation or a sell-up that's going to happen. In my part, in New Zealand and Australia, a lot of people are falling over because it's just too hard to do hospitality anymore. And I see that happening in a lot of places around Europe and UK as well. It's just the margins are getting,
thinner and thinner.
Thinner and thinner and thinner, So I don't know what that means for the future of the industry in their parts of the world because they don't have the generous margins that they used to have. And don't get me wrong, people say, oh, coffee has so much margin. You forget everything else that needs to go in there to finance the coffee from origin for 6 months to roast it, to serve it, to real estate it, all of that stuff. So I think...
that's why it's $9 and not $2
Yeah,
anymore.
That's right. That's why there's calls in Australia and New Zealand for it to be a $9 a coffee. That's right.
To be regulated?
Yeah, not to be regulated like Italy, but they definitely can't survive on a $2.50 cup of coffee anymore.
Yeah.
And that's Pacific peso, not US dollar, right?
All right.
So, I think that's what's next. And I think in this industry, in this region, I think there's going to be a lot of there's going to be less startup or a lot of people are going to struggle through because they've got the money to keep it going, and their pride and their ego doesn't want to let everyone know.
Yeah.
But slowly but surely, you'll see proper owner-operators operating,
Yeah. What's the next for Dubai?
I think what's really interesting for Dubai is I noticed that post-COVID where we had influxes of various different nationalities coming through, and we'd lost the era of the Brits and the Aussies and the Indian expats. There was this everything from South American to Estonian to Lithuanian to North American. So there's I think what we're going to see in Dubai is we're going to see a lot more returning youth, people who have grown up here. And I know that happened from the 90s kids. A few came back, but I honestly think that Dubai is becoming more and more established with the infrastructure.
Yeah.
And it's an easier network. So if mum and dad are here, if businesses are here, I mean, they've done so well with the golden visas onwards that I think you're going to see more and more of my kids coming back
Right.
and setting up more business because they know the landscape. You know, before it was a little bit less unknown.
Yeah. Last question. What's the future for what's the next for humanity?
What's next for humanity?
Yes. It's a big question. I mean, we've touched on AI, we've touched on Web3.
Yeah, I mean, can we get ourselves into the chip to go that way? I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. What's next for humanity? Look, I'm not a doom and gloomer, that's for sure. I think we constantly evolve ourselves to be better and better and better. We might be sounding more and more stupid, but I think, I think what's next for humanity is that we'll get smarter, not more stupid.
Right.
You know, and I mean, whether AI gives us the smarter or stupid or not, but I think
Hard question, isn't it?
it's a hard question. I think we'll become smarter at what we do, right? Because we have more tools at our disposal. That's what I think. Yeah, I'd like to think that.
Okay. No, it's interesting. No, we're not. It's not the end of the world or anything.
No, I don't think so.
Coffee's not going to be.
Well,
humorless.
coffee's getting harder to source because the environment's getting more and more challenging to pick the good stuff, right?
Yeah.
The climate is changing.
Exactly.
So we see it. We see the high altitude coffee becoming less and less available. A lot of floods happening. A lot of those climate things are causing issues. But that means we no longer have the rare Costa Rican coffee. We have a more robust Vietnamese coffee. You know, it's just, we evolve and we use the tools that we have. You know, so what's next for humanity is I'm not as I said, I'm not a huge end of the world Armageddon person. I think things get pretty tough for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I think humans are pretty good at using tools, and those who have access to it will, create something for themselves,
Amazing.
I mean, this is what Dubai did, right?
Yeah. No, exactly. So I think that's all we have time for. So, Leon.
Those are hard questions, though, my brother.
Yeah, they're not easy. Exactly. They make you think. So, Leon, founder of Nightjar, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Coming on the next.
Absolute pleasure.